Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Voices of Boyle podcast. This week we're joined by Michelle O'Connor and it's episode number 53. Hope you enjoy it. Michelle, how are you?
I'm good, Carla. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. This episode is going to be focused on holistic health and wellness, which is your area of expertise. So to start things off, Michelle, could you give us a little background about what inspired you to pursue a career in holistic health?
Well, it all started in, I think it was 2006. I had been diagnosed with endometriosis, which is a painful, debilitating, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, condition. A lot of pain. So I had done the whole doctor route, but, having to take painkillers the whole time isn't great for the stomach. So I ended up going for reflexology and I didn't need any painkillers for a good while actually after that. So that kind of sparked my interest in the holistic side of things.
How long were you suffering with that chronic pain before you kind of went down the reflexology route?
Probably about 18 months maybe. Yeah, about 18 months.
And for anyone that doesn't know, myself included, I do have a slight idea of what
endometriosis.
Yeah, what is that?
So endometriosis is, some people say it's an autoimmune condition, but it's where tissue similar to the lining of the womb grows in other parts of the body, and it responds to hormones on a monthly basis, and it doesn't have anywhere to go. So like you get your period, you have the exit. But with this, there is no exit. So it's like internal bleeding. So it's a hormonal imbalance. That's what it all boils down to. But can be very debilitating. The pain, it nearly takes over your whole body.
And it's constant. Do you get any relief?
When I was kind of newly diagnosed, it was probably I had 1 week in the whole month where I was pain free. So yeah, it's and at the time, that was 2006 and there wasn't much known about it.
Oh, really? Even back then?
Yeah, even back then. Yeah.
And of course, the traditional medical route would have been just probably, as you said, medication. The pill, which, the pill just pauses things. You're not treating any symptoms. But then, your painkillers and yeah. And when you went down then the reflexology route, and we'll get into that as well because that's one of the services that you actually offer in your business, but how quickly did you see?
Straight away.
So, because in reflexology, the foot, as I understand, is mapped to the body in a way.
Everything is reflection of the feet. So you're working on those nerve points on the feet to address everything internally that's going on.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, we'll get into that anyway down the line. So how would you define holistic health, Michelle, in your own words? And what does it mean to you personally and obviously professionally then in your business?
You're looking at the person. You're not looking at the symptom. You're treating the whole body. You're not just going straight into the problem. Because very often you have a lot of times that it's referred pain. So plantar fasciitis is just something that's coming to my head now, which is that the sole of the foot is inflamed. So a lot of the time that's coming from further up, tight calves, weak lower back, tight hips. So you're going back, you're trying to trace the root of the problem as opposed to just the symptom of the problem. And you're looking at the body, you're not seeing the pain per se, you're trying to treat the whole person in front of you. That's the holistic approach. Yeah. That you're not just going in for the symptom, you're trying to get back to the root of it. And you're treating the person, not the injury or the pain.
Yeah, as opposed to kind of plugging the hole.
Yes.
Right.
Not sticking the Band-Aid.
Yeah. And not looking where the root cause comes from, as you said. Okay, so you're qualified in holistic medicine, or is it holistic health?
Holistic health, I suppose.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And so what kind of educational background do you have in certifications?
So anatomy and physiology. So I went back training in holistic therapies in 2010, I think it was. So I started with my anatomy and physiology. I did massage that time as well. And then it's funny because you kind of just, you meander down the route and you never know where it's going to take you. And then I trained in reflexology. And then just did a good few add-ons to reflexology. So hormonal reflexology, lymphatic reflexology, pain relief reflexology, fertility reflexology. You just end up meandering down the road so much with holistic therapies, which is what I love. So yeah, it's never ending and I love it.
So there is obviously then those different lanes of reflexology as well that you mentioned.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
You can kind of specialize in an area. So you do your general, I suppose, reflexology, and then you can, do your CPDs, your add-ons in hormonal health, fertility, everything.
What are some simple everyday practices that you recommend for people to maintain their overall well-being? Just before we get into the kind of nuts and bolts of the service. Breathe. Right. We're not doing enough of that.
We're not doing enough breathing. Proper belly breaths. Really we just breathe to our chest a lot of the time. We're not getting into the belly breaths. And if you just get in the belly breaths, it's amazing, how it'll improve your digestive system as well. You're going to, relax the diaphragm. Yeah, just, your deep belly breaths.
I've heard of that diaphragm breathing. So
yes.
That's kind of the same, deep breathing.
Deep breathing, not the shallow breaths, which we all do on an everyday basis. But yeah, even if you just wake up in the morning and just take a few deep breaths before you get out of bed. Last thing at night, a few deep breaths. Whenever you think of it.
It sounds too simple. What's the catch?
There's no catch. Life is quite simple. We just complicate it.
We do though, don't we?
We do. We absolutely do.
We make things so complicated for no reason, whereas we just get down to the roots of it. As you said, just breathe.
Just breathe. It's very simple.
Yeah. One thing I know myself I don't do enough of is drinking enough water. I used to, but I don't drink enough water. I think it's like 8 glasses a day or depending.
I think it depends on the person. I think to say that you have to be drinking 2 litres of water a day, I don't think that's necessarily right. I think, every individual is different. They have different needs. If some people are on medication, they may need more. I don't think it's one cap fits all for water. But
yeah, and another thing as well is when people hear they have to drink a lot of water, they think, well, I'm going to be going to the toilet all day.
Yeah.
But that then, if that's the case, I do think that's maybe there's something where the water isn't getting absorbed into your cell enough.
But
so maybe there's sodium issue there.
Yes, and I think some people try to race through their 2 litres of water. So they're literally glugging it in. So it's just going to come nearly straight out because it's not being absorbed by the cells instead of just sipping on your water.
Yeah. And I think, as I said, the sodium aspect of it, if there's not enough sodium, it can just linger outside the cell rather than get
into the cell. Yeah.
Okay, so your business is how do you
Sale. It's an Irish word for life.
Right. Now you had, when I first remember chatting to you a few years ago about it, you had a business in Boyle on Green Street.
I was in Boyle and Strokestown.
At the same time you had done
yes, I was on different days in Strokestown, different days in Boyle. Yeah, and I'm in Elphin now.
You offer obviously a wide range of services. Can you give us an overview of the different type of therapies you provide?
I suppose reflexology is my main therapy that I do. I do a lot of facials as well. I do Japanese facelift massage. I do natural facelift massage. I do face reflexology and ear candling. TMJ massage, which is a dysfunction of the joint in the jaw.
Head massages?
I do, yes.
Head massages, yeah.
My brain has tuned out there. Yes, Indian head massage as well. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's maybe dig into the Japanese facelift. Has a nice name.
It is. Yes,
What describe that, and what's the process or the technique you use?
So it's all hands-on therapy. There's no machines involved, and it's a form of face reflexology as well, but you're also ironing out any tension that's in the face and you're lifting the muscles. So almost like, you go to the gym to tone your muscles. This is toning your facial muscles. So a lot of people will hold tension in their face, their jaw, But while it is working on the face, you're actually working on the whole body. Because very often when I'm doing the Japanese facelift, once I start, people will just melt into the bed. And it's just like their mind has stopped racing. And I think probably because you're working quite near the brain as well, it's just that calm down, bring down.
And do people get, when you're stimulating the face, then does the face become flushed in a way?
It can, yeah. And then, so after that, then I will cool it down with crystals. They're quartz crystals, so they will cool down the skin as well. But it's a very relaxing treatment. It's quite vigorous actually as a treatment. But it everyone falls asleep during it. And it's literally hands. There's no machines lifting the muscles. It is all hand technique to lift the muscles. But it's a full body approach at the same time.
Right. So you're targeting the face, but it actually...
It's the whole
works,
body.
right.
Because you're mapping, with your face reflexology as well, you're mapping the organs on the face too.
Okay, so give me some kind of idea of where's the kidney?
So kidney here, down here, lung, up in the cheek.
To each side of the
kind
mouth.
of just above the lip. Then you have your lungs on your cheeks. And a lot of the time you'll feel, like as a therapist, I will feel crunching. And that might be like that the organ is a bit under pressure. And a lot of the time, typically the lungs will always come up. And it's not that there's physically anything with the lungs. There's a lot of grief that's held in the lungs. And grief, comes in so many different ways. It can be somebody that passed away, maybe somebody you're not friendly with anymore, somebody causing you grief. There's so many.
And you can, as you're doing the massage on the face, you can, with your fingers and hand, you can feel tension almost.
Yeah.
Zone facelifts, I see that on your brochure as well.
Yes.
What is that?
That is another form of face reflexology as well. And that is also lifting the muscles. It's just done a slightly different way than the Japanese. And you use the gua sha, which is a kind of a crystal plate, for want of a better word, and there's lymph drainage in it. Now also the Japanese involves a lot of lymphatic drainage of the face too. So they're really good for sinus issues or anything like that, like that maybe clogging the sinuses, to drain them as well.
And just off the top of my head then, I'm just thinking, in a world where Botox is everything now, right? Can you make any comparison? Obviously there's nothing being injected, but could you get some Botox-like benefits from these facelifts? Like,
you could. Like realistically, they're not going to last as long as your Botox injection is going to last. But yes, you will. You're also not going to be getting the side effects of the botulism.
Okay.
That stays in the body, and it also makes the lymphatic system work harder to try and break down the Botox. So yes, you will, but it won't last as long. I mean, that's the reality of it. But you're also, I suppose you're ironing out the creases of life. So while you're getting your full body approach, it'll come across in the face. Your face doesn't lie. So your stresses and strains are in your face. So I suppose working at the holistic way, you're not going to get that with your Botox injection.
Okay, so let's move on to Indian head massage. What's that entail?
So your Indian head is just, do a lot of neck massage and shoulder massage with that. It's loosening out any tension. So actually it's very good for hair loss, because you're stimulating and you're getting circulation going to the head. Funnily enough, lately there's been a lot of people presenting with hair loss the last year probably. So yes, it's great for stimulating the blood circulation. Great if you've got a busy head as well, just to quieten it down a bit. Yeah, it's a lovely treatment.
And so these treatments that we've talked about, the Japanese, the zone, the head, are they typically an hour long, half an hour?
Yes, yeah, they're an hour long, yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Right, so let's look into the reflexology side of things then, Michelle. It's a significant part of your practice. So can you briefly explain to anyone that doesn't know what reflexology is, how it works, and maybe the different types of reflexology you offer? I know you touched on them already.
So traditional foot reflexology is working on the feet. So it's working on pressure points on the feet. So all the nerves of the body end in the feet. So the idea with reflexology is by applying pressure to a certain area of the foot, you are stimulating an organ or a shoulder or a joint or something along that line. So typically people would come for pain relief, would be a lot of it. Hormone balancing, that would be quite a big area for me. Fertility reflexology would also be quite a busy reflexology for myself as well. Lymphatic, I mean, reflexology is for everyone. I mean, I remember there was 1 week there that the youngest I had was 4 days old and the oldest client I had was 94.
Big gap.
Yeah. So it's incredible.
Yeah.
It really is. And I do remember reading somewhere before that the Native Americans did say the day we put shoes on our feet was the day we started getting sick.
I heard that before.
Yeah. So there's something in it.
That's true.
Yeah.
And so obviously the different parts of the foot are mapped to different parts of the body.
Yes.
What's the big toe, for example?
Brain.
That would be the brain.
The brain, your pituitary gland, pineal gland. There's a lot of hormone glands too around the big toe. Then you have your neck, and that to do with the face. There's a lot in a toe.
Right.
But it's incredible. And it is obviously your toe isn't that big, but it does have a lot of areas,
different
reflexes.
Segments.
Yeah. It's incredible. It really is. Thyroid, everything.
And so then an obvious question just popped into my head then. Where's the foot on the foot?
Where's the foot on the foot? That is a hotly debated.
Is it?
It is, yes. Because in certain maps, it can be in a different place. Depending on. Yeah. But yes, it's incredible. Yeah, it really is.
Success stories then that you, someone comes in with maybe migraines, for example.
Yeah.
And they've found reflexology has really helped a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Plantar fasciitis, that's the sole of the foot that's inflamed. I've had a lot of success with that.
Really?
Yeah. And so obviously because you're working on the sole of the foot for reflexology, that's not what sorted it. It was actually getting to the lower back on the foot and the hips. It was getting back to the root, not just the symptom of where it was flaring up.
And would it typically take many treatments for that to kind of get...
You will see a big difference after one treatment for something like that. And then, I would be recommending them to come back, another time. And then maybe maintain it. Because there's obviously a weakness going on somewhere in the body that it is coming out there. So, a lot of people will come to me they'll have a few sessions quite close together and then they'll do their maintenance.
Okay. And so would they have to do some exercises or would you...
I mean, I'm not trained, so I don't, but your healthy lifestyle choices really, more than anything.
And what trends then are you noticing in the field of holistic health, Michelle? Are there any new practices or treatments that you are particularly excited about?
I am really excited about Bowen Therapy, Bowen.
Bowen Therapy.
Bowen Therapy.
Okay.
It's named after an Australian man called Tom Bowen, and I myself am training in it, and I am absolutely blown away by it.
So tell us a little bit.
So it would be actually a big therapy in Australia. It's relatively new, it's the 1980s. But yes, so I'm almost at the end of my training, and I am just absolutely completely blown away by it.
Tell me what it is. I'm excited.
So it's very, very gentle work over your certain pressure points in the body. And you're working with the fascia. And it is so gentle. And it works so amazingly well. I'm completely shocked by it. Like I'm thinking now, okay, so shoulder, everyone seems to carry attention on their shoulders. So, you know, I've been doing my case studies and just like the difference with a few small moves, the freedom that people are getting in their bodies is just incredible.
And how would it differ then from like a traditional massage in terms of?
So you're working on so your fascia covers your ligaments, your tendons, joints and everything. And it gets toughened in areas. So this is such a gentle technique to try and soften the fascia. So if your fascia is tight,
Explain to someone where the fascia is, just to.
So it covers everything. It's like a film over everything.
Okay.
If you go on YouTube, you'll see loads of videos of what fascia looks like. If you had a raw chicken fillet, you know the film.
Yes.
That's fascia. That's what it looks like. So if your fascia is restricted, everything is going to be restricted. So by these gentle techniques, it's like a rolling technique. It's so gentle. It's like a rolling technique to kind of stretch out the fascia, loosen it, for want of a better word. And it's just incredible.
It sounds like maybe comparison with an osteopath as opposed to a chiropractic.
So an osteopath would
Gentle
use,
rolling.
yes, an osteopath would use some Bowen techniques. Yeah.
Interesting. Never heard of it before.
Really? Okay.
And is there anyone in this area that's doing that as well? Like, is there a lot of practice?
No, there's not a lot of. No. I mean, it is. I mean, I suppose it's so new to Australia, which is the home of it. But it is in 30 countries already. Like it has. It's
only
getting
30.
Yeah. It's I suppose, yeah, it's getting out there now, but it's honestly, it has blown my mind.
And when will you be able to offer that service then?
From October, end of October.
You'll be qualified in Bowen Therapy.
Bowen, yeah. Bowen Therapy, Bowen Technique. But it has now, I'm so excited about it because just, you know, from working on my case studies alone, like the difference is just...
It could overtake reflexology as the main...
It may. It may.
Interesting though.
But it is. It's incredible.
And is the course in depth? Is it difficult to theory wise as well as the practical side of things?
It's not, I suppose. I'm so fascinated and I love it that makes it easier.
That's
the
battle.
It really is. I mean, if it's something that you're doing for the sake of doing it and you're not really interested in it, I would say it would be very hard. But no, when it's something that you really love, no, it's easy to.
And going forward then, how do you think the field of holistic health will evolve over the next 5-10 years?
It's evolving already. It's
really?
It is. I mean, yeah, people want to address things differently nowadays. People are beginning to see the difference in, you know, holistic and treating the whole body and bringing in the whole body into the situation, I suppose. But yeah, people want to be well. Do
you get any pushback from people when you tell them you're a holistic health practitioner? You know, the way there's this...
What, like, oh, you just rub feet all day?
Not even that, but like, you know, that it's not like your traditional medicine, it's alternative. And as we know, at one time back in years and years, alternative was traditional.
Was traditional, yes.
Kind of like the way organic is now. Well, everything was organic until, you know, we're gone into the GMO era and all that.
Yeah.
So do you get people, when they hear what you do, they're like, oh, right, yeah, and they don't take you seriously?
No, I actually don't. But maybe it's just the people I'm around. No,
I'm just, it's a curious question, because we're so led to believe that there's only one form of medicine.
Yeah.
And that's where the question originated from. We're so pushed down the whole allopathic route that people think anything outside of the traditional medicine must be quackery.
Yeah. I personally don't. But maybe that's just, you know, my network is quite like-minded, so maybe that's why. But people are getting results, so
that's all that matters.
That is all that matters.
People will come at the end we do need, obviously,
of course we do,
the normal medicine. Yes. But I'm always a big believer of, if it can be at least tried to be fixed, the holistic natural route, I would go down there first.
And I mean, you know, at the end of the day, while I'm doing reflexology, it's the person's own body that's doing the healing. I'm just a facilitator. I'm just facilitating the body to try and get back to balance. That's it. It's the body itself that's doing the healing.
And can you share some memorable client success stories or testimonials that highlight the impact your treatments have had on them, Michelle?
So probably at the top of my head at the moment, the last week I had a client who presented with vertigo, and he was in quite a bad state of vertigo. I honestly didn't know if he was going to be able for the treatment, because he had nausea and the whole dizziness that goes with vertigo, and did the reflexology, and got him to sit really slowly on the side of the bed and take his time getting off, and he was a completely different person at the end of the treatment. The vertigo was gone and his eyesight was clearer.
So his eyesight had obviously suffered as a result.
I actually don't know, but I've had a few clients that have had clearer vision after treatments. And I suppose I was doing some lymphatic reflexology on them. So that could have been it. And I also have another lady that comes to me for lymphatic reflexology, and we do our measurements on the calves and the ankles. And I mean, her measurements have been dropping all the time, which is fantastic.
And so the person with the vertigo, that was after one treatment?
One treatment.
And was he suffering for long?
He had been suffering for, I think it was it could have been more than a few weeks before he came to me. Yeah.
That's great though, even for you, to get that fulfillment, that knowing that you're helping someone that's suffering in those ways, to be able to relieve that pain, if you like.
Yeah, yeah. I mean it does. The vertigo will affect your quality of life.
Yeah.
You have a constant, dizziness in your head and a nausea feeling, and you have to try and go on about your day and work, and
it can be dangerous then, obviously, if you're driving.
Yeah,
you can't. You shouldn't, maybe, if you have vertigo, an episode like that. And what are some challenges that you face as a holistic health practitioner, Michelle, and how have you overcome them?
I think the biggest challenge I've probably have faced so far has been probably COVID lockdown. When you're self-employed, you're always going to have that niggle, at the back of your mind, like this could all finish, or this, you don't have the security, I suppose. But I, honest to God, wouldn't change it.
All right.
But COVID probably was a challenge for everyone, not just me, obviously. But
so obviously then during the COVID years, you couldn't, especially I think during the lockdown.
Yeah, what was it? The first lockdown, was it from March to July? I think we were closed.
Yeah.
And then we were closed again from October to December that year. And then the following year, we didn't go back, I think, in January until, was it April or sometime? I can't remember.
So during those early months, obviously everyone was closed. That wasn't, you certainly were. You couldn't see clients, obviously, right? So that was a big hurdle, hindrance to your business.
It was a big hindrance to my business, and it was when people needed it the most. And there was nothing there for people.
It's sad, isn't it, when you look back?
It's very sad. And a lot of people have not recovered from that.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you hear even from the mental health side of things.
This is it. I mean, I have never been as busy with people with anxiety after COVID.
I also heard that from a naturopath I was talking to recently, who said that because of COVID, he just, after that, his business blew up because people were just, from a mental health side of thing, everything. Yeah. Maybe there were some treatments they needed they couldn't get. Like yours, for example. Yeah. And they were seeking out an alternative approach after the whole COVID year.
Yeah.
So dark times, as we know.
Extremely. And still, I mean, maybe like older people, maybe not so much older people, but lack of confidence. Like it's just, yeah, it has really not helped people.
No. And even though those lockdowns, especially I think the level 5 or whatever level it was, like
I've forgotten about the levels.
Of the levels, yeah. And the €9.
The €9 meal, yeah, of course, yeah.
All these these health precautions, which were, utter nonsense.
Garbage.
And I know a lot of people don't agree with that, but that's
it's the reality of it. I mean, why weren't they talking about vitamin D, increasing your vitamin D levels to protect yourself?
Exactly.
Not your €9 meal in the pub, like.
Yeah. There was a lot of supplements that people could have been taking.
Of course there was.
You know, that again, like you said, they weren't being informed about this.
No.
And you were more or less looked at as if you were crazy if you even talked about this.
Or questioned it.
Yeah.
And that's another thing I think too, is that people really need to start using their own discernment on things. They really have to. And, ask the questions. Don't take everything that you're told as being gospel. Ask the questions. Trust your gut. If something isn't sitting right with you, just do your digging, dig deeper. Ask the questions.
We've been conditioned, though, haven't we?
We have been conditioned, yeah.
To be...
and they did a good job on it.
Yeah,
yeah.
And I mean, you're right. Everyone should do what they feel is best for them.
Absolutely.
And leave everyone else to do what they
to do theirs. Yeah.
And keep their nose out of other people's business. Really.
Yeah.
And again, those were dark days, and thankfully we've come out of them. But as you said, a lot of people suffered as a result of that. The effects that we're still seeing, so...
I think we're going to see the effects for a long time to come.
Right.
I mean, it really wasn't natural for toddlers to be in a supermarket and not seeing masks on faces. Like, what's...
Yeah, that's one thing that
I do
isn't
think
talked about.
No, and I think I do think there's problems coming down the line.
Because we don't know how... psychologically that could have, depending on, of course, the age.
Yes.
But if you have maybe a child that's maybe between 2, 3, 4 and they're seeing everyone going around with masks, we don't know what the effects that will have down the road.
No.
So as you said, maybe we'll find in years to come that things, the true effects of these lockdowns. And
I mean, it's not natural for children, for adults, for anyone to be isolated from other people.
Yeah.
I mean, isolation is a term used in prisons. So what are we going to see down the line? I don't know.
Yeah. And it's a sensitive topic, isn't it, as well, the whole COVID era.
Yeah.
But
teenagers are coming to me with anxiety. I didn't know the word anxiety when I was a teenager.
And you think that could have been attributed?
I do, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And you have people that were maybe started off their job during COVID working from home, or still working from home, like maybe 20-something-year-olds. It's not a natural way of life.
The option of working from home is nice, but if you're forced to work at home and you don't have maybe a proper environment to work at home, that can cause stress and anxiety.
Yeah.
So
and where are you having the banter at work if you're not having your tea break or your coffee break or with your other people?
The human interaction.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's what humans are designed for.
We're social animals.
And that it makes us who we are. And
yeah, I think in years to come there'll be a lot more said about this, that people will scratch their head and go, maybe we didn't do... That's already come out.
I mean, it has come out in England, hasn't it? I mean, they've said that especially for schools and younger children, that it was not the right thing to have done.
Yeah. And hindsight is great and all that. But I suppose the counter argument will be to that, but we never faced this. We didn't know. We were just doing what we thought was best. But there were people, many, many people of high qualifications and credentials that were saying an alternative
yes,
view and opinion, and they were completely squashed.
Yeah, shut down.
And now their voice are allowed to be heard because, okay, maybe. But their voice wasn't heard.
No, when it needed to be.
When it needed to be. And as you said, which I think is the case, everyone should have all the information presented to them. Let them make up their own minds. Obviously, certain people can't make up their own mind, and that's fine. But in general, people can look and say, okay, what fits what I want to do?
Yeah, yeah.
And whether that's this treatment or that treatment.
It's in every walk of life,
Exactly.
Carlo. You have to use your own discernment.
You really do.
You have to. And I hope lessons can be learned from all this.
Well, I hope we never have to go down that route again.
Hopefully, yeah.
Because I don't think anyone would cherish the idea of being in lockdown.
No.
Of any level.
Any level, that's right, yes.
You know, just, yeah. Okay, moving on. Herbs. Now, when I first remember, I met you a couple of years back and we were speaking about herbs. And at one stage you were thinking of maybe going down that route. So
I'm not going to say never. At the moment, I have this whole meandering that happens with the holistic route. At the moment, I'm just quite busy with other things. But herbs, I mean, they're all around us.
So specifically herbalism. You have a pretty good knowledge, as I know, from your...
Just my own knowledge, to be honest with you. But yeah, I mean, the hedgerows and cleavers for your lymphatic system, your hawthorn for your anything to do with the heart, be it like emotional issues with the heart, physical issues like blood pressure, garlic for the heart.
Have you a favourite herb?
I love the cleavers.
Cleavers.
Yeah. Right. So that's the sticky weed, for want of a better word.
Gets onto your jacket.
Yeah. So as it gets older, it develops the balls on it that stick to things. But the cleavers are generally, you'll see them around January, February. They'll be low in the hedgerow, a green leaf, and they're sticky. They are fantastic for the lymphatic system. So the herb nearly looks like the problem it'll fix.
Really?
Yeah. So if you know your cleavers, they will, I'm using the word meander so much today, but they will meander around the hedgerow. And your lymphatic system, it meanders around the body. So the cleaver it's sticky. So the gunk in the lymphatic system will almost stick to it.
Interesting.
It's amazing.
And
everything is there for us.
Well, I did hear that.
Yeah.
And the seasons will also present some herbs that, for example, I can't remember.
Oh, was it the eye?
The eye. Remember we were on a foraging tour?
Yes, we were on a foraging. Yeah, that's right. Eyebright. Was it eyebright?
Yeah, and it only comes at the season when the
issues with the eye. Yes.
Isn't that fascinating?
Yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible. But even if you think of the nettle and the dock leaf.
Right beside
each other. You know. And nettles are fantastic for allergies.
They are.
And the blood.
Yeah, very good.
So you could do a nettle and a cleaver tea. So, obviously pick them where they haven't been sprayed or there hasn't been dogs peeing on them. Yeah, although the dogs peeing might be better than what's sprayed on them. But just make a tea out of them.
So I was going to say you infuse them almost. Is it put them into...
Just put them into a pot and...
boiling water.
Let it simmer for a while. And,
right.
Yeah.
And... So cleavers is your favourite?
I love cleavers. I love the lymphatic system. I'm fascinated by it. It's such a simple system, but it's the least understood system. And if you can keep your lymphatic working well, you will be well.
Well, isn't it the lymph nodes, especially, they're kind of a place where toxins go, and if you can drain that lymphatic system, like you're saying, you can get rid of a lot of toxicity. You can get rid
of, So you have loads of your dandelions. Everything is there for us, just to know what to do with them, really.
Okay, Michelle, so what are some common misconceptions people have about holistic treatments versus your traditional allopathic medicine?
Probably, I would say the one thing is maybe it's a lack of understanding that a lot of people don't really know how the body works. So when I'm treating a person, I do like to explain things to them, kind of educate them a bit more about their body. And I'm surprised that people don't know as much as I would have thought they would know about their body. So maybe
when you break it down to them and maybe show them a map.
Show them the map
of the
foot and what I will be doing and how, you know, your lymphatic system works and what it does, and explain these things to people. Because it's amazing how little knowledge we have of our own bodies and what system does what and how they work together. But yeah, people are, you know, some people are quite hesitant when they come into me, and I'll sit down and explain everything to them, and we'll go through their case history and what medications they're on and why they're on it, and I'll tailor the treatment to them. Every treatment is tailored for the individual, and that's, I suppose, another holistic approach where you're not just treating everyone the same.
One size fits all.
Exactly, okay. Exactly. So yeah, so I explain what I'm going to do, and yeah, they probably are taken aback by what can be done.
So you get a certain level of skepticism,
of course,
in certain people.
Some people, yeah.
And then when they get some
relief,
it's almost like the mind is freed then, and they kind of
yes.
They're open to this.
They're open to
alternative treatment.
And it's like, okay, so when can I see you again? You know, so yeah, you know, you're going to have people like that, and that's great.
And that's
fine. Brilliant.
Yeah.
You know, because, you know, it is all about kind of informing people about how it works, how the body works, and taking the time to explain it, because maybe they're not getting that in other places. They're not, you know, getting the explanation of, well, this is how this system works, and this is what's going on with it. So this is what I am going to try and do to help you.
And yeah, because as I said, we're being kind of almost conditioned to just run down to the allopathic route every time we have a pain
or an ache,
and it'd be great if people just maybe looked at alternative options.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't like using that word alternative, but that's a best
complementary
way.
As well. I mean, it does work well. Yeah. I mean, like, look, I have this, like, and you doctors are fantastic too.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, like, everyone has their place. But yeah, I mean, I do get referrals from doctors.
Isn't that great?
Which is fantastic. And this is such a big, because that hasn't always been the case.
No. Yeah. That's for sure, because there should be a world where we can live, where we can get the best of everything.
Exactly.
That's the way it should be.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then people can then choose what route they want to go down. Or, as you said, a doctor can recommend maybe a bit of reflexology will help with this, and vice versa.
Exactly. Yeah.
And going forward then, Michelle, with the future of your business, Sale Wellness Therapies, what, apart from the Bowen Therapies, and maybe down the line, herbalism?
Maybe.
Anything else in the pipeline? Or
well, for this year, no. It's going to be try and finish off my Bowen. But I'm so excited about that one. I don't know if you can tell. But yeah, so I'm here for the long haul. So yeah, Sale, and I really hope to be practicing until I'm 99 years of age.
Absolutely. And what advice then, if there's someone considering a career in this industry, do you have any advice to give them?
Do your research. Definitely do your research. See what qualifications you're going to get. Just do your research on what you're and ask teachers, you know, ask them, what can I do after this, and can I get insurance after this? Yeah, if
to
something,
know that beforehand.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And then before we wrap it up, do you have a website?
I don't.
Right, okay.
I have a Facebook page.
Yeah. Okay, so people can contact you through the Facebook page.
Through the Facebook page, which is Sale, SAOL, Wellness Therapies. But it just search that on Facebook.
Okay.
And I'm at 5 Main Street, Elphin. And
no plans to move anytime soon?
No, this is my permanent base. And I'm blessed to have it. Yeah, blessed to have it. There is actually another therapy coming on soon. It's Sculpt Pro Facial. So yeah, that's going to be going live from about October as well.
And what is Sculpt Pro?
So
facial?
Sculpt Pro is a facial where you are sculpting. So it's You know, it's kind of like your lift as well, but you're doing buccal massage as well. So that'll also help with tight jaws. It's kind of a cheek massage, and sculpting and draining, lymphatic drainage. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
excited about that.
Brilliant. Well, I wish you the best of luck for that. And
thank you.
Thank you for coming on and giving us a little insight into the holistic world that you operate in. And,
thank you for having me, Carla.
Yeah, welcome. Thanks very much, Michelle.
Brilliant. Thank you.